Hey there, film fans. I just clipped my microphone. Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies, both new and old, with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to avoid lazy negativity, we have decided to make this here episode a drinking game.
Just this one. Yep.
Anytime you hear us say anything negative about a film, each other, our guests, you're going to hear this sound. That sound means that we have to take a drink, and we hope you at home drink along with us.
So pour yourselves a glass and let's feed the goats together.
Let's feed the goats together.
You will, yes. It's not a euphemism, people. It's not a euphemism.
Already,
guys, we have a guest. We have a guest, and I'm so excited to have him back because he was with us before. You may have heard him once on the Secrets of Dumbledore. What was the name of that Harry Potter?
I already forgot.
I know it was that episode. It was that movie.
Should be the last time we see Dumbledore.
The bad fashion of Dumbledore.
We are excited to have him back. He is the lead editor on the hit show Mandalorian. We have come on.
Sorry,
He's the show creator.
No, I was buzzing Dave from before. No, we love
creator.
Fucking...
Keep going.
He is the owner, the CEO of Lucasfilms, Disney International. You may have heard of him before. My friend Christopher Hurte.
I am all of those
Welcome
things.
back.
Hello, everyone.
He has all of those things. He owns Twitter. He's all right. Chris works on The Mandalorian. We had him here before. He's an assistant editor. We're so happy to have him back. He is a filmmaker, film lover at heart. One of my good friends here in Los Angeles. He has not met Jeff yet, outside of just the little hello they had there. Dave and Chris and I hosted that show without Jeff last time. So We're happy to have all four of us here today. Chris, welcome back. What's up, man?
It is lovely to be back. I'm happy I could be back. And I'm happy I could be back for a Taika Waititi movie. Because
yes, dude.
I love him. I just do.
It's kind of hard not to be charmed by the skills of Mr. Waititi. I'm excited to hear if everybody agrees. Jeff, what's up, dude?
Chris, what's your favorite Taika Waititi film?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would probably go with Hunt for the Wilder People, but I really, really, really love What We Do in the Shadows. It's for me just such a fun hour and a half.
Did you go into the TV show too after the film?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Some of it's actually great, I think. But just I don't know, the pacing and the characters, just everything just a little snappier in the movie.
Yeah. It's snappier than the movie?
No, it's snappier in the movie.
My favorite, my favorite quote out of the publicity of that movie is when they ask him about the script, and he's like, "Yeah, well, we had one. Nobody saw it."
I've started watching the TV show. I'm not too far into it, but I love it. And I just love that it's in Staten Island. Because, like, what a perfect... If I were a vampire, just go to Staten Island. Actually, if I found out that vampires were real and they were like, but they're only in Staten Island, I'd be like, that's good. I'll go get them.
Dude, one of the guys I work with, and he listens to this show, so he's going to hear this, is the spitting image of one of the vampires. To the point where if he doesn't do it for Halloween, I'm kicking him in the nuts.
Yeah, has he really not done it yet?
No.
All right, well, he's getting called out.
Chris, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you.
Happy to be here.
John, shout our people out really quick.
All right, we have a beer sponsor, Carlos Barroso. You can find the handle in the show notes on Instagram at cbarroso.beer. We also have a musician who makes all of our music. He is brilliant. He is the one, the only, the myth, the legend, Dasein, Dasein. Follow the show notes to find the link to... right now, it's still the SoundCloud, but there is I think a Bandcamp link. And very soon, I know I've been saying this for a while, he's going to be launching everything on all the usual platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, all that shit. So stay tuned and try to support that. All that music is available for free. All right. Music.
Love the
Michael Giacchino, Thor. He did that.
Well, Michael Giacchino shared a score credit on this.
I know, I thought that was interesting.
He's like, themes by original theme. Yeah, anyway, it was like themes by...
so I guess Nami, Maluman.
Who'd you share it with? Guns N' Roses?
Honestly, there's so many needle drops. Nami, Maluman, Nami. Come at me, Nami. Sorry, person. I should have figured out how to say your name before we mentioned you, but good job. You wrote some good music. It is
I love how
Amy, I'm
we
imagining.
lead
It's a
with the
woman.
score. We lead with the score. People were talking about Thor: Love and Thunder or Thor: Ragnarok Part 2 if it were the Princess Bride. That is what we are talking about here today. This movie made $144 million at its opening weekend. So West Side Story made $10 million. This made 144. Everything that we know and love is dead. I don't know what to tell you. It has. This movie has everything. It has god orgies. It has female PhDs talking like they're children. Again, in another Marvel movie. It has everything you could possibly want.
Oh God, yeah.
What else could you want? It has gods. It has gods talking about orgies, but not showing us the god orgies. I mean, it's exactly what you want in a film. It has bringing the band together. Did you hear that this movie almost had Jeff Goldblum back, and it almost had Peter Dinklage, and they said nah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's true.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
They shot scenes and they cut them.
They're crazy.
A 4-hour cut, apparently. Over
4-hour cut.
Yeah.
And apparently they
Whoa,
said there's
dude.
not going to be a director's cut anytime soon. Anyway, critics were not as hot on this as they were on Thor Ragnarok. I wonder why. We'll talk about it. This is directed by Taika Waititi, written by Taika Waititi and Jennifer Caitlin Robinson, based on the Marvel Comics by Stan Lee. The stars Chris Hemsworth. Natalie Portman is back as Jane. What are you laughing at? I'm doing the fucking setup, man.
Just to clarify, his last name is not the letters YTT.
I know. I said it
It
weird.
is.
I
Yeah,
said it
he's-
weird. I know it.
He's a Star Wars
Okay.
walker in his spare time.
Oh my God.
If you read any
Yeah.
review, Christian Bale steals this movie and makes Thor just need to go into obscurity. Every single review loved Christian Bale. It was their favorite part of the movie by far. Tessa Thompson is back as King Valkyrie. Taika Waititi as a great. Did I say that right? I don't care. Go find yourselves. Is back as the voice of Korg. There's a cameo that I'm not going to spoil because I thought it was fun that I didn't know, but it is a very famous actor who's gained a lot of weight in the past 10 years who has a Greek accent. Good for him. Jamie
I
Alexander
guess.
Stiff. And
Sure.
the Guardians
Sure. It was. I guess it was Greek.
Yeah, you're right.
I guess either way, it was slightly stereotypically racist. I don't know.
I don't know what the fuck it was.
Guardians of the Galaxy are back. A bunch of other nice cameos. Some that you saw in Ragnarok.
Most of them, and that's something I'm going to bring up later as well.
Okay. I have a rant or two. Okay, so we have, here's the pitch. Thor, Love, and Thunder. It's a tight 158, which I would have appreciated on another film. Thor enlists the help of Valkyrie, Korg, and fuck, man, I'm in the middle of the
You said
of the
it.
bio.
You said it. You can't just throw that shit out there and launch into a spiel.
Oh God, this is good.
This is the IMDb pitch. It's rated PG-13. Thor enlists $303 million worldwide in the opening weekend. This thing's gonna cook. Thor enlists the help of Valkyrie, Korg, and ex-girlfriend Jane Foster to fight Gorr the God Butcher, who butchered one god in this movie, who intends to make the gods extinct. Who wants to take it?
Did you not get? Was your city bike stuck? Did you miss the other 4 or 5 gods?
There's so many gods he killed.
There were a few. Well,
There's
we
a-
didn't
there's
see
a-
him kill.
There's a montage.
We didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
it was
didn't-
not a montage, right?
No, it was. They just cut between all the different gods dead.
They directly
Yeah,
refer
he
to, like,
showed
10
them dead.
more.
It was the
Yeah.
David Fincher 7 approach, not showing
saw-
the actual murders.
I saw
but yeah,
I saw the Truman Show TV screen
Yes.
montage. Is that what you're talking about?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then they refer to a few of them specifically by name that he's killed.
All right, so let's get there.
What
Let's
were
get
your
there.
initial?
Let's,
So we're gonna.
yeah, what were our initial thoughts? Let's just fucking go for it.
Keep it
Jeff,
spoiler-free
I
for a
have
couple
it.
minutes.
I have a hunch that we know how you feel about it. Dave, what did you think? Dave, when did you see it, by the way? You saw it earliest. You saw Dave had a
Saturday.
shitty viewing experience too.
Yeah, I had one of those guys sitting next to me in the disabled seat, I might add, not disabled. And he was
What an asshole. You know
I
what,
don't know-
motherfucker?
Yeah,
That's for
right?
that guy, Dave. It's
I'm
not
sure
for
you saw
you.
this at Friday night. It's sold out. They say when you buy the tickets that you could get bumped if you need to. You could technically buy them, but yes, he's still an
I saw
asshole.
this
Fuck that guy.
Saturday. I guess the theater was kind of full, but he was like talking to himself during the movie as if I was his friend or something. Like I don't know
What
what
was
he
he
was
talking
trying to get. Just things that let's go. He was talking to the screen essentially. Then he started like dropping lines that he thought were coming next. I don't know whether he'd actually seen it before and knew what was coming and started saying lines. And
What was
it
his
was just
accuracy percentage on this?
Yeah, what was
about
his hit
85. He was pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, which made me
What
think
does
he'd
that
seen
say-
it once
what
or
does that-
something.
Not
Yeah.
great for the writers.
What does that
Good
say
for the
about this
crazy
movie?
person next to Dave.
That's why I think that's why he lived, because he was like 85% accurate. But he was having a great time. But it's just like, shut the fuck up.
At the cost of everybody else around
Yeah.
him not having a great time. Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck that guy. All right, so in spite of that, what did you think?
I had fun. I'm trying to figure out, because like we're in phase 4 now, and so far phase 4 has been, a miss and a miss and almost.
Can you
there
clarify
and-
for me
Yeah, we're
when
in
that
phase 4, I
began?
guess. Yeah, who knows? They just said
What
we're
movie
in
began phase 4?
Spider-Man, I think.
This
So,
recent one.
yeah,
Oh,
one
okay,
division
okay,
kind of
okay.
kicked it off, and then it went through Spider-Man through like
Okay.
everything else.
Thank you.
So like Spider-Man was great. There's no qualms there at all. I love that. We know I love that. I'm on record as saying I love that. Doctor Strange, I'm on record as saying I did not. This one, it almost got there, but I just kind of wanted more. And I'm like, why am I walked out and I'm like, I sat there and had a real hard think. I'm like, why am I so dissatisfied with like these films all of a sudden? Like, because I used to love these. I'd go and I'd watch it and there's big explosions and fucking fun and stuff. And I realized it's you fucking guys.
No.
Look
We
at
ruined-
this
we ruined
shit.
Marvel for
Look
you?
at this shit I've seen
No.
in the last couple of weeks. I've gone and seen like, golf movies and fucking Crimes of the
You
Future.
love that golf movie.
and
You love
all
Crimes of the
All
Future.
of these things with these amazing fucking writing and plot, and it's made me expect shit, and it's not there.
Damn it, you've seen good plot.
You,
Fuck.
you ruined
Well,
Marvel.
gotcha.
You ruined Marvel, you fucks.
Yes, yes,
yes, yes.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god, that is. Oh,
Fucking golf
Excellent.
movies ruined Marvel.
good.
Never did we think that would be Marvel's undoing.
So yeah, I did have fun.
You know what, man?
I did have fun, but again, yeah, I was kind of left expecting a little bit more. Although there are some fucking great moments in this that I really enjoyed.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
just no Mark Rylance in sight.
No, yeah, we have seen a handful of really excellent movies.
I would
this-
love to see the pitch meeting where they try to pitch Mark Rylance and he's just like, no.
Yeah, I think I feel the same way. I don't want to sound like a fucking broken record on this podcast. I the whole thing about how every time we watch these, I keep saying I didn't really mind because I don't care that much anymore. I think I'm in the same camp as you, Dave. It's it kind of stood alone for me in an unusual way, and I want to unpack that a little bit later and hear what you guys think. Chris, I made some comment to you. We saw this together last night, and I said I can't remember exactly how I put it, but this feels, for better or for worse, depending on the audience member, I guess. This, unlike any other Marvel movie, felt like a Taika Waititi movie and not a Kevin Feige Marvel
Feige.
film.
Yes.
Feige, thank you. Is it Feige?
It is.
Feige
Yeah.
Marvel film. For better or for worse, it kind of just felt like it was its own thing. And I know in certain big franchise things, we have said, I wish we had more of that. We've had a Rogue One in the Star Wars world that I think everybody felt like, whoa, that worked. That was
Yeah.
kind of its own thing, and it was really successful.
Yeah, let's make
for
a sequel
me,
to that.
this one
Oh,
felt- Yeah, for me, I totally agreed. There were a lot of fun moments. Jeez.
I'm late on the draw today, but
There were a lot of fun moments that I think were successful. We laughed. My audience reacted. Our audience reacted accordingly. But perhaps there were too many other moments that made up the bulk of the storytelling that kind of just didn't feel like the stakes were very high. And on the page, I think they were supposed to be extremely high,
Yeah.
but they didn't play it that way. And I'm going to blame is not the right word, but I'm going to put that in the hands of our fearless comedic director, Taika Waititi, who I think wanted it exactly like this. So it just, maybe this just wasn't for people who
that's-
don't really like that kind of kitschy humor. There were times where the goats that we'll get to, there are some certain things like that go into certain production design, certain jokes that live in like throwaway group walla and like background voices and stuff that I thought were really funny. But there were other moments where like they had Natalie Portman talking like she isn't a good actor. And that kind of confused me. Like I could tell she was being directed or she thought this was the atmosphere of the comedy in this movie. And it didn't work for me. And it kind of took a lot away. I agree with you, Dave.
ding, 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 ding. Yeah.
You have to just go in with a different cap on. I hope this doesn't cut off the shins of the really emotional, things that got us wrapped up in all the early Marvel films. They don't seem to exist anymore. I don't know if that matters. I don't know. I think it's okay. This movie's still doing really well. I'm still going to go see the next one. But Dave, I think ultimately I do agree with you. I had a fun time in the theater, but I just don't know if I give a shit. How about you, Chris?
I liked it.
We demand honesty here. Okay, good.
I liked it with a few caveats. There's some
I think I liked it too. Yeah.
potential plot issues depending on how you feel important a plot is.
Do plots matter?
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that the biggest thing that I've realized since last night thinking about this film is that even though it was already pretty long considering of what happened in the movie and also just like the lack of not that much actually happening in the movie, I'm wondering what they cut in the additional hour and a half.
Totally.
That would have maybe made some of those things you said about stakes work better.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
There was so much of like the first act of the film I thought was kind of cool, and like getting to see different planets and finally actually getting to do all the stuff that you always kind of wanted to do with the Guardians. And that ended up being such a quick throwaway. And I bet that was initially in an early cut a lot more fulfilling because you actually got to see like what his dynamic was. It didn't feel like sort of a quick little throwaway joke. But there just wasn't time for that in the rest of the movie. So I don't know. It was fun. It was fun. I like Taika Waititi dialogue, even if it's not overall the best movie.
I will say though, this does have the best delivery of "I am Groot" in any film I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was fun. Again, there are a lot of good
Fell out of my
throwaway
chair laughing
moments like that. Yeah, they're not in the center. They're not the peanut butter and jelly of that part of the scene. They're good at like little afterthoughts or prefaces or transitions, but like the actual stuff in the middle, I think was kind of like, I want to get to it. Jeff, go ahead and say. I don't think we even need you to say it, but go ahead and just lay it on the line first. So just in case anybody wasn't listening to that whole fucking introduction, what'd you think about this movie, Jeffrey?
I couldn't agree with you guys more. I had a great time. I really did. But having said, no, I really did. I had a perfectly fine time. And part of the reason I had a fine time is because I accept the fact that we live in the dumbest world imaginable. And nothing fucking matters. So how could I not have a great time just living with Thor in this meaningless existence?
I get the impression Taika agrees with you.
And I'm with you know what? Was
yes.
it? Now I'm forgetting who it was. If it was Chris or John that said, like, John said this is the film that Taika wanted to make. And I think you're right, tonally. And then he's gripped by this plot, which is funny because... Do the results of what happened at the end of this movie matter? We'll talk about that more. But like, wait, quick rant before I get into this. I talked about this. Dave, I forget what we were seeing when it was just the two of us, and it was probably Paddington 2 or something, which by the way is better than all these fucking movies.
It was either that or Men. Yeah.
No. But
Crimes of the Future.
Listen to me. Yeah. So I was talking about how I'd seen the movie Super Pumped, and I'm still fucking mad that they bought the Pearl Jam catalog, and so every single episode of the show just had like 3 Pearl Jam songs, and I was like, since when did the Uber founder in like 2014 listen to like 90s grunge Seattle music only? Like it was driving me fucking insane. Guys, are you trying to like... Are you best friends with Axl Rose? Does he need a liver transplant? Like, I don't understand why there are 4 Guns N' Roses songs 5 times in this movie. That's a real distraction.
There was a Kate Bush song in there as well, but that got pulled out in a real hurry. I can't imagine why.
Yeah, right. And you know what's funny is the love montage was an ABBA song, and that's great when everything is carefully chosen. But when you are stuck with a catalog, so last film was like the Led Zeppelin film, but it's just the Immigrant Song, really. And it was in the trailer that they had Sweet Child of Mine, which is the best song out of all of them, but that comes last. And it's like, it was annoying because now in my head, I was like, oh, there's November Rain. That's 3. So fucking here it goes. It has to be next. Child of Mine.
I like the Welcome to the Jungle placement for me. That was a good one.
Welcome to the Jungle was great. And actually the first Thor Thor like killing
who
everybody
doesn't want to
montage
cut
was-
loose to that song?
It was fantastic, and I've been thinking recently about like action just isn't doing it for me anymore. Maybe it's just because everything we see is action. The Boys is action every week. This is action. All these movies have action like crazy. And at a certain point, I'm like, okay, can you just tell me what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? Like, who's gonna win? Obviously, we talked about this with Obi-Wan. I know. Sorry, you have a conflict of interest there, Chris, with Mandalorian. But how many times are we gonna see Vader fight Obi-Wan, and we know they both live, so they're fighting with lasers, and it's like, well, nothing's gonna happen. Like, they're all gonna leave with all their limbs, so like, cut away, who gives a shit? But so it's like the action is just, it's just like I'm softening to it. But that Thor montage was the first time where it was just him, and then afterwards he said, we did a great job, was fantastic. And then the next time I heard a Guns N' Roses song, all I thought was, that wasn't as good as the first time. And then the next one wasn't as good, you know what I mean? It was automatically less than. That's my rant. That has nothing to do with this film. Yes, it does. Go fuck yourselves. You're a music producer. You gotta fight for your music. Get more ABBA songs and more other kind of shit out there. Come on.
It was weird. I agree.
Honestly, it should have been Deadpool, and Deadpool should have been turning to the camera being like, is Axl Rose dying of cancer? Why do we keep doing this? That's what should happen. Okay, this film, I think, ultimately, I just love the character Thor. So this is my takeaway. You can take with it what you want. I wrote down, I was like, this is starting to remind me of fucking Sonic the Hedgehog. Where now, I don't know if you saw the last two Sonic movies. I know, Dave, you had to see Sonic 2. But basically, at the end of the credits, they just introduce who the next villain is going to be. And like a video game, you just say, yay, I can't wait to see Sonic fight that villain. And that's basically what it is now. There are, I have no idea what to expect. And if we have a person who can kill not only all of the gods, but could find eternity, which I still am vague about, so you're going to have to explain. But you could find eternity, kill all of the gods at once, bring people back from the dead. How is that not the next Thanos? But the fact that it's just like something in this movie. Like, if you can't make that the most epic thing on the entire planet, then I have no idea what Marvel has up its sleeve. Because that seems way bigger than anything else that they've been doing. That seems even bigger than Thanos. It seems like you could fucking wipe Thanos off the planet if you can find eternity. And they just threw that into this movie.
It does seem to be the biggest complaint that a lot of people have. It's that he was shortchanged as a villain.
He was shortchanged. The concept of him and what he was going for, he could be the next Thanos. He could be bigger than Thanos if they really wanted him to, but they didn't want him to.
Honestly, I think Christian Bale would have agreed to do more than one Marvel movie.
No, of course not.
That's why. That's why it's in one movie.
The jury's still out of it whether he knew he was doing a Marvel movie.
That's really funny. So that's what I'm left with this, because a lot of the stuff, I just agree with everything you're saying. It's just like the feeling I leave with afterwards is just like, but what's the point? You know what I mean? It's like, if the point is we get another Thor movie, and I guess now I get to see him and this kid fight. I have no idea. Like, what the fuck are they going to fight next? I have no idea. The shadow things didn't work for me with Christian Bale, but like, I like Thor. So I'm in this weird place where it's like, if there's more Thor, I'll get on board. But at a certain point, you got to give me something. you got to give me something.
You know what this reminded me of? Actually, it's, when you have like a 5-year-old kid and they do something.
Nope.
They do something funny. Like, you've seen kids, they'll do something funny and all the adults laugh.
Yeah.
So they do it again. And they do it again and bigger and do it again. And they keep doing it because they made the adults laugh. That's what this movie is to me, a little bit. Like, we've got more Taika, we've got more Korg. Korg's there the whole time. You've got.
Korg's great. I'm gonna run.
I just could have used
Korg.
a little.
I'm gonna run out of him, but
I could have used a little less of the stuff we saw in the first one. Like, it felt like they took all the stuff that everyone loved about the first one, tried to up the ante on that, but didn't on the other stuff.
What about the Princess Bride thing? Did that work for you? Where it was narrated? You know what I mean? Didn't
bother me because it was Taika.
Yeah, me too. That's why I kind of wish the stakes weren't what they were. I know he was killing gods and stuff, but like, did they kill? Can we go? Spoilers.
Okay, wait, hang on. We're going into spoilers.
Sure, here we go. Spoilers.
We haven't already spoiled a bunch of shit already.
Yeah. No, I think Jeff only spoiled one thing.
What did I spoil? The eternity?
Just the mood.
Bringing people back. I spoiled the mood. Yeah.
No, it's great. Keep going. No, don't stop. This is
I don't want to take over this episode. We have 4 people today. I want to give everybody their time. But my question, is it a question? What the fuck was I about to talk about? Oh, okay. We're at spoilers. They killed Zeus, but then they didn't. And there could be god orgies, but there weren't. And it's like, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, I love the Princess Bride thing. I love the narrating thing. And I wish they didn't go for eternity. Christian Bale would have given the same performance if he lost a shoe. So why did it have to be eternity? You know what I mean? That's my
Okay, so we Chris, you and I touched on this a little bit, but I think we didn't go too deep on it because I hope we want to talk about it on this. But what I can't stop thinking about, and I thought about it during the movie, which I always hate doing. I always there go all the flags. We mentioned this earlier. I think Taika did this on purpose. Taika and Jennifer Caden Robinson, who the co-writer is. I feel like there were several times where they, in writing or their outline or developing the script, they got to a point where they said, I don't know if we've established that in the Marvel universe or any universe. And they just said, fuck it, with a smile on their face. Like, I feel like eventually they were like, no, embrace the fuck it. It doesn't matter if it's existed before. The lid is off. I guess it doesn't matter if we've alluded to it before. It doesn't matter if the rule existed earlier in the film. Nothing matters. I thought the Bifrost
that was my point.
moved at a certain speed, right? And there was that whole sequence where they're like on the boat in the middle of fucking Bifrost travel. Like I know they're going to the center of the universe, but they've never really clarified how quick it moves. So I guess they were like, fuck it, it doesn't matter. So like every opportunity they had to say it doesn't matter, they just did that, which Jeff, I agree with you, dude. I do think they were like, it doesn't really make a difference anymore. Nobody really cares about the rules. Nobody really gives a shit if there's consistency between these movies. So you can kind of do whatever you want to do, and everybody is still going to come see it. Are we those fucking goats? Are we those fucking sheep? You know, we're going to come regardless. We're going to scream. We're going to have fun. We're going to shove popcorn in our mouths, and we're going to walk out. Maybe. So there were several times where I was genuinely a little confused until I told myself, just stop thinking about it, dude. It doesn't really matter. All the way up until, and I know Jeffy hated when I jumped to the very end, but we did kill Zeus in this movie. I thought he fucking died. And then the tag in this at the end of these post-credits things, apparently it's not true. And that's going to be the next can of worms. And I'm like, who the fuck are they? Why are we going into Greek mythology? I just don't understand how we got there. And if the answer
how did we get into Greek mythology? We went from Norse mythology to Greek mythology, and none of the gods do anything anyway.
None of the gods do it. And if the answer was
they drink honey and fuck, it just sounds like heroes.
It's a fun
legends
thesis to open up the idea of killing the gods, that there is no eternal salvation, and that the idea of having to bring down your heroes, like from a thesis standpoint, that is a cool idea. I bet there is 20 films that could work across that thesis.
Literally just
answered it in one.
It was literally just eat the rich. That's what that was to me.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess it's
power,
so
abusing
off
their
the
power.
rails now.
That's why Christian Bale said yes. He was like, you know what? My character's right.
Well, I wrote a note there. It's like Christian Bale is very good. The character was nuts and kind of right.
Yeah.
Like,
Chris, did that bother you? Did you think about that stuff at all, or were you able? Because I know you felt this way, and I still agree with you. Like, I guess in the world of a Taika Waititi movie, none of this matters. He's just going to pull it off with his humor.
I would say that any last little bit of me caring about like the overarching plot line as like Marvel having a bigger point completely died with Doctor Strange. It probably died long before then. But,
yeah,
but died with Morbius or
yeah, dude.
Morbius doesn't count. I don't even know.
No, Morbius doesn't count at all.
Bring back Morbius.
But
it's Morbin time.
I was just excited about seeing it because it was a Taika film, so I didn't really care about that part. But I do think it's interesting because I agree with you. It's completely clear that there was a lot of fuck it in this movie. Just cool. That'll be neat. That'll be funny. Let's do it. But I actually legitimately think that Taika doesn't give a shit about Marvel. Like I'm sure he doesn't dislike it. It's just, hey, would you like to make this movie and play with a huge budget and do fun, neat shit? And he's like, that sounds like a good time. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So he makes that movie. Like, I'm sure you saw the anecdote where he asked Natalie Portman if she'd have any interest in being in a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
He didn't know that she was Queen Amidala. She's like completely. He doesn't care. He's just doing his own thing and having fun.
Yeah.
And I is trying to embrace that. And I think I enjoyed the movie a lot more because I was able to embrace that.
And I do think I think if you get on board with that, it can be refreshing to maybe lower our expectations for these things so much that. And I don't know if they want as a company for us to say this, but I don't think we're supposed to be dramatically impacted by them anymore. I don't think they're trying to do that anymore.
I think Eternals
Or if they
tried.
are, then maybe
Eternals
they're
tried that.
realizing it's starting to feel like, and I hope no judgment to all the people out there who read comic books, but for a very long time, that existed in a very small group and community of people who really enjoyed the episodic page turning comic book culture. These movies are starting to feel like that. It does begin, it's feeling like you're not really supposed to see these movies if you don't already care about these characters anymore. So, Jeff, even you said at the beginning, I love Thor. Sure, it'll be fun. But you know, for the adults in the room that aren't hardcore about these characters, I don't think it's getting harder and harder as a, you know, as an audience member who still sees them, to encourage your friends to maybe take a chance on the Marvel films. Because I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I would feel comfortable saying they're still great movies. I just think there's something else now. They're still good at what they do, but they're not dramatic anymore. They're not.
The reputation is definitely slipping. I mean, it's almost like Feige's distracted at this point. He doesn't have a grip on the wheel like they did leading up to, like, Infinity War and Endgame. And even today, now it's on Reddit. There's a VFX thread for like VFX creators, and it's come out that a whole heap of visual effects artists are requesting not to work with Marvel because of the actual severe crunch. And they'll ask for like ridiculous things like 3 different options so they can change their mind later and stuff like that. So they're asking for all this like visual effects stuff, and all of a sudden they're asking for like a change 3 weeks out from release and stuff, which, like, if you're talking, for instance, Natalie Portman's helmet occasionally doesn't move the same way as her head, apparently. I didn't notice it. Someone did. But
someone always notices.
Yeah, someone always notices. And to be honest, if you're going to a movie looking for that stuff, you're not watching the movie. You should be watching the damn movie. Stop it. But like, it happened, and obviously these were some effect shots that had to be fixed at the last minute. So like, Marvel's getting a little bit of a reputation of kind of freewheeling it and not making a decision. Like, that shit should be done in previews before you even get there, and for some reason it's now not. Like, they're creating all these options and creating a bottleneck at the other end. And I don't know.
Of course, we'll never know.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to come out like recently. Like, this came out today. I was reading this article this morning. So I don't know what's going on over there.
Let's get this podcast back on track. Let's stay positive here. We are a positive podcast. And we just ultimately we all liked this movie.
Yes, absolutely.
Can somebody present, Chris, you're our guest. Can you present something that, because I love this movie. I'll say something and then I'll pass it over to you and say something that you liked about this movie. Sorry, I worked at an intensive.
He's going to hand you the like stick.
I love the fact that Thor flew on a broomstick in this movie. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
okay,
I thought that was really fun.
The axe gag was pretty fucking funny, I must say.
All of the axe stuff, the threesome, which by the way, very, very, very carefully represents Taika Waititi's personal life. So the threesome between Thor, his axe, and his hammer is pretty fun. Chris, what's another positive thing that you liked about this film?
I'm gonna give you 2. One,
okay.
I like that Natalie Portman's in it, even if she's terrible in it.
I'm with you. Well, we got to buzz. But I'm with you.
Not terrible in the whole thing. She has terrible moments. I just love Natalie Portman. I love seeing her in anything.
It was weird.
But do you think, before we get to your second thing, do you think that when people switch to comedy, I remember when De Niro and Billy Crystal did this, De Niro after every take would ask Billy Crystal, like, how am I doing? Am I doing good? Should I do something else? Do you think sometimes with comedy, good actors like think that acting is different, or like maybe the director, like, do you think that it's not all on her? You know what I mean? Like, she saw this writing and she said, how the fuck is a PhD supposed to do this? And it's like, fuck it, I don't know what to do. So
also, Taika should be a great comedic director and has proven he can be. So I don't know what happened with that.
Okay, sorry.
The thing is, also, her character's not really playing for comedy. Like, there's that whole cancer storyline, which I thought they might water down, and they didn't.
The cat damning scene was like, I don't know what they were. I thought they were supposed to be intelligent people. I don't know what was going on.
Even Hemsworth. I think even Hemsworth showed up on a lot of days and he was like, do I just say the lines like this? I mean, he's funny. He's so good in so many times. And this was not great. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I mean, he is really funny in a lot of scenes too, though. Just kind of hit or miss depending on the scene.
Was it like the Mike Myers thing where like he did Austin Powers 1, 2, and 3 and he was God, and then nobody told him that Love Guru was a fucking bad idea?
When you have protagonists telling jokes, like delivering one-liner jokes in dialogue that isn't coming out of character and situations. It's like them saying it like a joke.
Yeah.
That's when I felt like I was like, again, there's no one else to blame except for Taika, even though I love Taika.
When a PhD in physics doesn't know how many cancer stages there are, and there's only two answers.
We were talking about...
She doesn't know how many cancer stages there are, or she thinks it's funny to joke about not knowing how many cancer stages there are. And either way, it just sets the actor up for failure. That's my point.
I totally agree.
I got the impression she knew and was just trying to be funny.
And it's just not a good enough, you know what I mean? It's just not like, in real life, that would fall flat. You know? Sorry, Chris. Back to you. You like Natalie Portman's great. I'm happy.
I like watching her movies. But my other favorite part was I don't know how it worked within the greater narrative of the film. It might have fallen a little flat, but the whole when everything turns to black and white, and I like how they leaned into that stylistically and did like some of the George Méliès shit where it's like when it hits the planet and just like flies over.
Okay,
the theater got just like
the
biggest laughter during that.
It absolutely did, but they ripped that gag off from Rick and Morty.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They have it in, I think it's the end of season 3. He finds a planet for them to settle on.
I'm a big Rick and Morty fan. I don't remember it.
Yeah, they go to the wedding, Bird Burson's wedding, and they're looking for another planet because he can't go back to Earth, and he flies into the planet, and he's like, oh, nope, thought it was further away, and like the ship bounces off the front of the planet. Yeah, it's a Rick and Morty gag. They did it better with.
I did think it was more effective in black and white though, because
also
you lose some depth, which was
the thing that sold the gag for me was the after they hit.
That was definitely the best goat scream timing.
That was what I went.
The names of the goats. The names of the goats are Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder. Those are the names of the goats. That's pretty good.
I honestly think that I think the goats were justified in their entire presence of the film based off of that one joke.
Yeah.
That's definitely the thing I'm going to remember the most, and I think
really good to have
the thing
in their
that's
back
still
pocket.
going to get a laugh like 10 years down the track, like that.
I mean, it's really good. I can imagine them like going through all the different like screams trying to find the best one. What did I like a lot about this movie other than the goats and the things that we've already said? I did think it was cool, the idea of, because everybody felt kind of strange about how Jane Foster just didn't really have a good exit out of the whole previous movies. So I liked that they figured out a way to bring her back and, spoiler alert, give her a real proper bow. I thought it was strange that they introduced an A-list movie star along with all the other A-list stars that appeared in those first 1 and 2 cycles of these Marvel films. They hung on, right? So I thought it was kind of weird that they introduced her and she's not a villain. So it's not like they were going to kill her by the end of the first or second film. So I'm glad that they brought her back. I hope she's done. And I don't mean that from her performance in this movie. I just feel like they have to start getting these new ideas.
We said this about Black Widow too. We're like, guys, you have to stop.
Yeah.
That's
so like I Valhalla. First of all, what a shitty little end credits teaser. Like I didn't learn anything. We knew she went there. The dust.
We didn't learn anything.
Right? Well, we saw the thing happen to her that happened to Anthony Hopkins.
They're setting up a return as another Valkyrie.
You don't think Valhalla's gonna play a part in Thor 4 when they're trying to kill Zeus?
I thought they're gonna go to Athens now that fucking Zeus is in charge. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought there were a lot of comedic moments that worked for me. Everybody I think enjoyed that. I wish it wasn't in the credits. The when they blow his clothes off, that was a funny moment.
The trailer.
I laughed harder. The trailer. I laughed harder when I saw it in the trailer just because it was the first time, and the editing is good on that. The cut, the timing, the women falling. It was really, really well cut right there. I'm not sure what Russell Crowe was doing, but I liked the idea of them like failing to recruit gods. I think that's like a funny idea. So I think what ultimately worked for me was exactly what in execution failed. All of these are really good ideas. It's almost like I can imagine their writer's room and they're like talking about like where we could take these different plots. And it sounds really good when you're talking it out to each other. The Hackett and Wilder idea of we're not going to write this movie down until we can say the story to each other. I bet it was fun when they were talking to each other about what the story was going to be. But when they actually put the pen to paper, when they actually said, this is how it's going to go. This is how we're going to film it. Most of those ideas just kind of fell short. I really appreciated that children had a cool moment. Here you go. This is a perfect example. The end of this movie is fun because the kids get to really show up. They're not victims.
Dug that so
The
hard.
Children of the Corn.
Yeah.
Sure. But at the same time, I leaned over to Chris afterwards and I was like, what a cool moment. What a cool moment. But great. I guess Thor can just give his powers to people. So in the same moment, and this is why I think Taika, that was like his exclamation point on the whole thing. At the same time, he had me being like, I'm really happy that these kids are getting these moments. And also, what the fuck is going on? Can he do that? Can he just hand out powers? Has he done that before? Is that a thing?
You don't think
Why aren't those kids fucking getting in close? Like, there's no stake. They had an opportunity to have high stakes there. But I wasn't worried about anything. As soon as those kids, here comes the fucking Guns N' Roses for one last round.
I would love to figure out if the hammer is killing Natalie Portman by stealing away all that is mortal in her, but the kid's getting this power is totally fine.
Hold on.
Wait, like
everybody, let's stop the episode. I asked Chris last night, I am stupid. I'm the idiot in the room. Somebody explain to me how that fucking sequence went down. I don't understand how she broke it one last time. It broke apart. It gathered together, got the sword, and then she did exactly what she did every other time, and somehow it killed. But I don't understand. I literally didn't track what was happening.
It had the necrosword in it,
so
it killed him. He killed him with the necrosword. I guess, is that right?
I mean, I really don't know.
Yeah. So I think it broke. All the pieces flew up. She did the thing where like it shoots out in a million pieces and it comes back. It gathers all of the pieces. So all the little pieces of the sword are in the hammer. And then when she does the Thor smash thing, it's like the sword's already weakened to the point where it's about to die, but it needs the killing blow. And her hitting the hammer on the ground, forcing all of the pieces to finally close in, destroys all the necro sword pieces. And then
Taika, I'm his first director. Taika, you're a genius, man. I love you so much, but I'm going to do a little gag here. I'm your first director. I'm going to say, do you think people will get that? And I think that was the last time he was like, fuck it. Let's just everybody get in places.
He said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to film it in such a way that they know whatever happens next, he's dead.
No, he's like,
it could be
literally the answer to that is, bro, it's cool.
They could slam a fucking salmon on the ground and kill him, but we're gonna fucking sell it because it's time. We're gonna sell it. It's the time that happens. That's what happens.
I had so much fun in that last sequence, and I was so like, what is happening? So I don't know. That was me. I was in conflict this entire movie.
One question I have.
Wait. I really loved, and I'll shut up. I really loved the fight in the black and white sequence. That was cool.
Yeah. That really
was. That fight on the moon thing or wherever that was really, really creative. Chris, you're right. Without the depth from the color, it lent all the fun things they could think of with the action choreography there. And it was really exciting. I didn't buy for 1 second the previous scene where he had them all wrapped up and he was trying to get him to call the hammer. I don't understand why they were strong at certain points and not strong at other times, but whatever. Anyway, but that fight scene was kick-ass.
The question I have about is the opening. So we open with the Guardians.
Well, we opened with Christian Bale.
Well, yeah, but like the opening of like from Thor's up. Okay, sorry. He's with the Guardians. Gamora is gone. So does Guardians 3 now happen before this? And what the fuck is up with that?
What do you mean? She's dead.
No, she's not.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
Because
I thought she was dead.
In Avengers Endgame, previous time Gamora came through. And they had a whole
shit.
Yeah, she's back. But she's back, but she's the Gamora who doesn't know him.
Chris is already looking it up. Go ahead, Chris.
That was like 100 Marvel movies ago, dude.
Yeah. So Gamora's back.
They could just Loki her and bring her back, and it's fine.
Yeah, because she came through with Thanos, like the previous time Thanos, and so she doesn't know the Guardians. She doesn't know that she becomes one. She doesn't know any of this stuff. She doesn't know that there's a Star-Lord relationship, any of that shit.
You're right, man. You're right.
So
I did wonder where she was.
Why she wouldn't be there? Doesn't that explain? Didn't you just answer your question as to why she wouldn't be there?
It does, but that's an awful lot of passage of time. Like, does Guardians now happen after this, or does Guardians happen before that? Like, they're not actually covering Are they not going to cover what happened there? They're just going to give a throwaway line? Like, what's the go there? Like, they just wasted a massive piece of, like, narrative drama. And I can't imagine James Gunn saying yes to that.
Well, that's like, it might have been James Gunn was like, I'm covering that in my movie. I'm going to do it better than you guys will. So just don't fucking talk about it.
Maybe, which would mean this would happen before Thor. Which means they're now releasing them out of order.
I honestly think it doesn't matter.
They wrote themselves into a knot. They're going to go full Thrones on this. They're going to go, shit, we've splintered into too many different fucking things.
Yeah.
We've been saying that.
Let's just give them a battle at night, and then it's going to be all fine.
Didn't we say that a few movies ago? Was it Strange, Doctor Strange? We were like, why did they do this one before? I feel like this is not the first time this year, past year or so, that we've said, was that movie? Why didn't they do that after that?
Well, there was a lot of like the whole Black Widow thing where they just went back a couple of years. It's like,
I mean, I think at this point, Marvel movies are just starting to become like a genre, and you just see the ones that are done by a director that you're interested in. Like, you don't see every Western film; you just see the ones that are like made by the Coen brothers. But
the fall of that is Sam Raimi. I really don't think Sam Raimi made the Doctor Strange movie he wanted to make. So if
it's still a very Sam Raimi movie.
There are definitely bits of Sam Raimi in there.
Oh, of
it's
course
like
there
a
are
terrible movie, but it felt like
and Chris, what you said earlier, we've all been saying, I think Taika meant to have this stuff here, but there's so much of it was cut out that I don't think Taika actually got the cut he wanted by any means, obviously. So maybe he's also saying like, that was, it's still cool to see everything on this big screen.
He famously said this week that like there will be no director's cut because this is the cut of the movie I intended. I took everything out that didn't work.
Yeah, but also like, we don't know if he signed a contract that says no director's cuts because what the director's cut says, Marvel fuck me. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I just can't. I'm into sports and stuff, and right now NBA is like fucking crazy because people make $50 million a year, and then they make so much money that they can just not play for a year if they don't want to play for somebody because they made $50 million last year. That they have so much money that they can just. So it's all fucking crazy. I don't trust anything anybody says anymore. Yeah, so Taika could say that, and I don't buy it. Also, I could also just see Taika being like, "Fuck, I'm done, man. I'm out. I don't want to drag this out anymore. Like, I gave it everything. They paid me so much money for this. I had so many threesomes after this, and we got it down to 158. That's a win. Sorry, Jeff Goldblum. I bought you a car. I'm out. I'm gonna make my own movie next. You know what I mean? Like,
don't get me wrong. This is like a monster effort of like modern effects filmmaking.
It's great.
Like the logistics behind this were like ridiculous to create what is created.
What stood out to you? What stood out to you? I saw you looking at your screen. Usually when you say things like that, you check your notes.
Oh, no. No, it's just everything in general. Like the huge battle scenes, like the set pieces, the comedy gags at the beginning with the Guardians battle. Like that battle was busy.
Yeah. And the tone of it was so great where Thor does everything. That was really well done.
So many compositing layers in that scene.
Maybe this is pointless to say, but one of the things that I think the biggest thing I've learned since starting to work on some things with like bigger VFX budgets that I had just never really processed before is that I always assumed if there was a movie that came out that didn't really feel like, it seems like the director had issues with it. It's like not really the movie they wanted to make. I assumed there was crazy drama and there's always like a huge battle and like the studio's like, you're fucking out of here and you're fired. And I'm starting to realize that I think it's usually more like, in general, the studio's like, hey, this isn't really working very much. And it's like, it's going to cost a bit more to do it this way. And the director's like, honestly, you're probably right. So let's just get it to this cut. And it's fine.
And what's funny is with Doctor Strange, I actually do feel like Sam Raimi and Marvel were like mad at each other, and they were like negotiating the whole time. In this one, I kind of do think Taika Waititi's like, you know what? People aren't gonna drag me if this isn't the film that they want. So let's negotiate in good faith. And let's all have our
I don't think there was beef in this one at all.
I'm 100% the movie he wanted. Cut Jeff Goldblum, and he went, man, but I got Jeff Goldblum to come back. They came back for me, and Marvel went, it's not working, and he went, all right, I'll talk to him. You know what I mean?
So now we're saying,
Peter Dinklage was supposed to be in this. Like he wasn't even in the last one. So
these Marvel movies, kind of going against what you said earlier, Chris, because I agree with what you're saying now. Like it's almost like these Marvel movies aren't really a reflection on the director anymore.
They are, and they are. Stylistically, I think they still are. which is why
Tone-wise,
this felt like a
Taika's like,
Taika
yes,
movie.
the tone's good. People are going to go see my next film. Can't wait. Thank you, Mark.
But the final cut of like, I'm Scorsese in every fucking frame I'm fighting for.
Nope. Yeah.
Not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
And it can't be just logistically, even if you are that kind of filmmaker, because there's so many other people that have to have a little place in the kitchen, the VFX team, VFX editorial, the VFX supervisor. There's just so many people that are a part of this. You can't have that level of control anymore, even if you want to be that kind of director.
Have you seen the producer's notes they released from Blade Runner? Where it's got they released the producer's notes from Blade Runner that he got sent, and like there's all these ridiculous notes about like, we don't like this, we don't like that, we don't like that, fix that. They want all this stuff changed. I imagine that sort of still goes on at that level, but in this case, sometimes it's a back and forth, sometimes it's a no, fuck you, I'm doing this.
Yeah, I think it's more of a converse. I mean, I wasn't in the room for this one, and again, I have a very limited scope of stuff that I've been involved in. But I've just been very surprised at how amenable everyone kind of is to everyone else, even if they do have a big creative. Like, I really saw it this way. But that being said, what are you thinking about it? And then there's just an adult conversation about it.
I agree with what you're saying. I guess it makes me curious, though. It's all in the past now. I'm sure it has the rose-colored glasses effect on it, but when I have watched behind the scenes stuff and read about and listened to interviews on the first Iron Man, or any of those first ones, but let's use the first Iron Man just because it was so successful. It kind of felt like, I have no doubt that Kevin and Jon Favreau had many, many, many conversations along the way, but ultimately,
and Robert Downey Jr. earning his back end cut of all of the films he was going to be in. I'm
sure. I don't think Robert Downey Jr. was extremely creatively influential in the first one, though. I think
except that last line where they had to stop shooting and jump in a golf cart and go over and clear it with Marvel.
Sure. Okay, so maybe some dialogue, but in terms of storytelling, I feel like Kevin Feige hired a director that he had a lot of faith in for his vision, and he really allowed, because I've seen and Chris, I know you've worked with him before. Now maybe he isn't like this as much with every project, but I remember there's footage of him having like in-depth conversations about how he wants Iron Man to move through the sky, and then like adjusting the way the coverage is going to be on how he flies. And it didn't feel, that's quite a distance in my mind from the anecdotal stuff I've heard about Chloe Zhao just not even being invited into the conversation of what the fight scenes would look like. Yeah. And like, we have people who do that. You just do the scene work. That just seems like quite a distance. And I don't know, we're not there. We don't know Kevin Feige. We don't know what's happening, but I do feel
hopefully she stands her ground on Eternals 2, because that was greenlit today.
What was greenlit today?
Eternals 2.
Oh, fuck that. Such trash. Jesus.
Just all of us. I mean, I think we hit the nail on the head too in our episode. That should be a series. What are they doing putting that in the theaters?
Well,
that is a series.
It's too late. They would need to start over again. It's too late. I
don't think anybody would care if they just want to.
Our episode loved it, but we did what we're supposed to do in this episode, where we just only talk about positive things. But the truth is, deep down inside, I think we knew.
Yeah, I think I texted you guys and I was like, bullshit. I listened to that episode when I was on the road. I was shocked.
It was definitely, it would have been a trickle effect. If you were in there and you would have said, guys, but this. And we
Elizabeth
said,
fell asleep.
Yeah, you're right.
Elizabeth fell asleep in the theater during that movie. That was not a good one.
Well, she works
But anyway, I don't know. I feel like we're right about all these things, and I'm sure we're wrong about all these things. I think it kind of feels like it doesn't really know what it's trying to be anymore, or perhaps it's challenging us to not expect what we were expecting. Either way, it's fine. Who cares? The real question for us, and I think for everybody moving forward, is, are we going to keep paying money to see these movies if we have consistently complained about these movies to some degree? We're still having some fun, but to some degree for the past year or 2 years now. It's like 2 years.
Yeah.
I had a good time.
There's been one or two that we enjoyed.
I had a good time in the theater,
I think it'll start depending more and more on the director.
Me mate next to me still had fun.
I think he had already seen it.
Will I see a Taika Waititi Marvel movie going forward? Yes. Will I see a James Gunn superhero movie, regardless of who he's making for it? Yes, I have fun in it.
And TV show.
It's like, will I see, John Watt? Yes, I'll see anything that guy makes in this genre. But it's like Eternals 2. It's gonna get to the point where I won't just see it because it's Marvel.
Yeah,
if I'm not already there.
Which is that's not even a criticism of Marvel. They make so many movies that you're allowed to not see 1 or 2 a year, and you've still seen 3 or 4.
You know what? They're clearly making movies knowing that some people in there aren't keeping up with the lineage.
You're totally right, dude. It really doesn't matter that much anymore. And not
Love
in the
and Thunder
fun way
should
that
just
we
be a
used to
one-off.
say.
It really should just be him and this girl killing. I don't even know who's out there anymore in the universe. Who's out there to fight? But if they just gave me an hour and a half of Thor and this girl just like kicking ass somewhere,
That's his daughter.
Why not do like a real life, a real time movie of Thor just being a badass for an hour and a half?
wait, is that his real daughter?
It's
Oh,
his
yeah,
real
exactly.
daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a
Daughter?
photo.
Day in the
Yeah,
life
there was a
of Thor.
photo taken of him standing there in the Thor gear a couple of movies ago with the baby sitting in front of him, and that's her.
That's
He
cool.
definitely has children.
Yeah.
I was touched.
All of Taika's kids are also in the movie.
Wow.
Oh, they're,
I
like,
was
in that-
touched by the
Kiwis do that.
very last moment where it said love and thunder, like the fun spin. I think everybody
like
thought it was
that.
going to be Natalie Portman and him, and it was cool that it wasn't.
Yeah.
That was sweet. And we do know who the villains are going to be, Jeff. They told us exactly who they're going to be. It's going to be the Greek gods.
Well,
It's
actually,
gonna
we
be-
don't know because
I'm still laughing
Hercules.
about
It's-
that, so-
Hercules.
Chris, what did you say last night? Are we about to see? Is it Ted Lasso season 4? Or,
Oh yeah. That
I
was
was like, I was like,
Everybody clapped.
Father.
I think
everybody-
Ted Lasso season 3 is going to take a very interesting
Yeah.
turn.
Everybody
We
clapped
love
and
him.
cheered.
So you know what? It's like that movie might suck, but I'm not going to hold it against him. Let Brett Gold, Emmy Award winner Brett, whatever his name is. Let you know what? If this movie could be the worst,
hell.
this movie could be from Justin to Kelly in Marvel Universe, and I will still love him.
That
guys
character
know
was
that
so
he
popular,
wasn't-
he had his own
He
series
was a
for a
writer.
while.
He didn't even.
He wasn't even supposed to act in Ted Lasso,
He
which is
said,
crazy.
"Can
Now
I
he's going to be in
audition
a
for
Marvel
this
movie.
part?" Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Wow,
I'm
I didn't
rooting
know
for him.
that. That's
Yeah.
cool.
He was a writer,
writer?
and then decided last second to audition for the role that he'd been writing.
He
Well,
wrote-
to
he
throw it
auditioned
right
for,
I think I
back,
can do it.
Yeah.
The Nosferatu in What We Do in the Shadows was their IT guy.
Amazing. I love
Yeah.
that. Amazing.
What?
Yeah.
That's good.
It's the
Well,
whole thing.
I
It's
hope
like,
we
we need to
didn't-
get someone like this guy. And it's like, why don't we just get that guy?
Yeah.
I hope we didn't shit on it too much. I still think we always agree
I mean-
that it's still, if you want to go see a big giant popcorn movie, like, Marvel's always going to give you something fun to watch, and you're going to laugh, and you're going to see some really, really incredible technology on display. If you're looking for story, I don't know if you need to watch these anymore. That's probably,
They're
I'd
going
watch
for
this
it
one again.
Yeah. Whatever.
yeah.
I'll watch this as well. It was like I feel like there's at least 2 or 3 gags I missed that I'm going to find
You're
later.
going to rewatch this one? You think?
I'll
that
rewatch
you're
it.
going
I'll rewatch
through
this. Yeah.
The
There's
canon.
funny stuff.
That's one of the things about like Taika stuff. It's incredibly rewatchable because sometimes there's stuff hidden and that you don't get the first time through. And he's very good at layering like that. So yeah, I'll definitely give this a rewatch. Like I've watched Ragnarok so many times and I loved it, and I will probably watch this many, many times, even though I feel like out of everything I said, the only gripe I had was I wish there was more.
Bring the 4-hour cut.
That would be fun.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that was a good
That's it.
talk. Go check it out. Give it more money.
People have already seen it. If they listen this far, man, they're either never seeing this movie or they're
Yeah.
gonna go see it again. Give them more money.
Come
Why
at
not?
us. Come at us. We haven't had anybody talk shit to us while on the internet. If you fucking love this movie, I want to hear why.
There's been 1 or 2. YouTube's had
I
a
wanna
couple of good
know.
ones. YouTube is getting some good conversations going in some of those comment sections.
Wow. Good. All right, guys, let's wrap it up.
Let's do it. So we always end our episodes with a quick recommendation round of what you've been watching. We usually start with Dave, but if our guest Chris here is happy to get us started, Chris, are you ready to go with some recommendations for the week and what you've been watching?
I am. It's all TV. Just finished season 3 of The Boys.
Oh, yeah.
I
Let's
love
have
the
a-
show. I don't
let's
know
have a
how
quick-
everyone feels about it, but I'm
We're
a
all-
huge
Love
fan.
it.
Have we all seen it? Should we have a quick boys moment? What did everybody think?
I was very satisfied.
Yeah.
Dave?
Dave?
Yeah, I was very satisfied. I'm hanging in there for the next one. I'm also, the spin-off series is coming as well, Varsity.
What's
which
Varsity? I don't even know what that is.
Varsity is the college kids. When they're at college age, they send them off to a special school,
Let's go. That
and
sounds
apparently it's
like a
going to
lot of
tie.
fun.
It's going to tie into season 4. So
Okay, cool,
yeah.
cool. I just everything about the season could have been terrible because it's just like this. Like, how do you keep the stakes relevant? And they
Yep.
just, I just thought they did a beautiful job
Yeah.
of the whole season.
You just got to build bigger and bigger cocks every year.
Just the larger penis. Yeah.
John, did you see The Boys?
I did. I liked it. I think you and I were texting about it. My brother-in-law was on this show. And it was cool.
What's he again?
He's
One of the
one of the
TNT
he's the
twins.
TNT twin.
He's one of the people
male
whose
TNT
role
twin.
got cut out on the cutting room floor, but yeah.
Hey, he was still there for his disintegration.
I think that episode.
Spoiler.
I think there were maybe. I really loved the first 3 or 4 or 5 episodes. I was really on board. Unfortunately, the Herogasm episode, I feel like it was. I don't know what happened, but I think the gimmick of the orgasm. I think everybody was ready to lean into it as an audience member, and it kind of started feeling like a side thing.
Again, it was a media thing. They pumped it up so much.
I guess so,
but
I think storytelling wise,
even after it was out, it was like, well, that wasn't much. Like, but what was going on around it was so good. It became a minor player in its own episode.
I do think they lost steam for me in really caring too much about Soldier Boy, just because they stopped. They didn't really give a lot of coverage to each of his teammates, so I don't really care that they keep getting killed off.
Yeah, fair.
Which maybe you're not supposed to. So maybe that was just me being a little confused. That I thought there were going to be some stakes associated with that. I know it's still always going to be about him and Homelander, and now, spoiler alert, we know something really, really juicy at the end of this. So I guess it was building to that, so it didn't really matter. But I think I enjoyed the first half a little bit more than the second half, but it's still really fun. I like that show a lot.
I'm with you. Got a little too sentimental at the end. I wish it was just sentimental for Homelander, but the fact that 12 different characters got sentimental got a little much for me. It was sentimental in action in the last episode, but I like it. I can't wait for season 4. Chris, what else have you been seeing this?
I just finished the first half of this last season of Stranger Things, which I believe was originally released as its own little chunk, and then there was like a break before the second half, which is now out.
Yeah, the last 2
I
episodes.
hated season 3 of Stranger Things. I didn't even finish it initially, but I heard enough people say that season 4 was good that I decided to give it a shot. And first half season 4 is wonderful for me, for the aesthetic I'm wanting.
Great.
Wait, they released the second half already?
Oh, yeah,
it is out. I just haven't gotten it yet.
It's out and done, and oh my god, you need to watch it so you can get on the internet love that at least one character is getting. Because
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's amazing.
But yeah, it's just really fun. It's a fun show.
It is. Isn't it fun?
All right,
Duffer Brothers have a masterclass out now. It's charming. It's an endearing
I'm fucking excited that they
likes
just
those masterclasses.
like. I'm excited that there's one scene in one of the episodes where they're sitting there reading the Talisman, Stephen King's The Talisman, and that was like almost a backdoor announcement because they are making the Talisman.
Yeah, that's cool.
Finally,
Did you guys know those dudes are from?
I've been waiting for that fucking thing to be made into something because it's one of my favorite King stories.
I've never read that Stephen, if I'm being totally honest with you, but they're perfect for the Stephen world. They are from Durham, North Carolina, which is not far from where I'm from. And the whole time I've watched Stranger Things, I've always been like, God, it looks like where I grew up. And
Durham is where half of Astoria in New York is moving to. So yeah.
Free Durham. I love it. Yeah. All right, Dave, you're always next. What do we do with you here this week?
Well, I'm going to be a while because I had COVID this week. I got the big C.
Be a while.
Finally.
Great teller.
I had COVID last week too.
Yay, COVID
2
buddies.
out of 4 hosts. yeah.
What is it, the Gushala?
Cheers,
Fuck you
boys.
guys.
Cheers.
So I mean, and I was like, okay, cool, and it knocked me flat on my back. So I was like, I did the thing where I'm like, I tested positive. Okay, well, I can play video games, I can work on my reel, I can do all this stuff while I'm off work because I can't go to work.
COVID fucks with the brain.
Flat on my fucking back, had no eye-hand coordination, whatever.
Yep.
So
COVID fucks with you.
Here we go. I watched Rick and Morty season 5 again. John Carpenter's Vampires, which is a fucking underrated classic. I love this thing. I watched Psycho Gorman, which was recommended by the Matt and Mark show. I believe it was Matt tried to bill this as the movie of the year. What the fuck is he on?
Matt and Mark were coming at you guys.
It also didn't
fuck?
come out It like came out like 3 years ago, and they were like, "This is the best movie of the year."
Still, it's like it's. I demand an explanation. I demand an explanation from those motherfuckers because, like, what the hell did I
I think he
watch?
was just fucking
Yeah.
with us. I think he was tired of saying like answers that people had heard of. He was like, "I need to give one just to left like curveball."
I watched Spiderhead, the new Chris Hemsworth film on Netflix. I watched the new season of Westworld. I watched Shaun of the Dead because I felt like it. I watched Krull, and I have fucking questions because I saw this thing as a kid, and I loved it. And I watched it again now, and like the whole quest for the glaive is weighing on me because they were like, all right, he's got to get this glaive. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the next 10 minutes of the film him walking up a mountain. And up a mountain. Then he walks across a path. Then he walks up some more mountain. 10 fucking minutes of him walking up a mountain. And then he walks into a cave and picks the thing up and it's got it. It's I'm like, I didn't make it to the end. I fell asleep. It was so fucking bad.
Took their time.
Yeah. No, just, I also watched Color Out of Space.
What is that?
Colorado Space or
Color Out of Space. It's it's a H.P. Lovecraft story with Nick Cage.
I remember that coming out. Didn't watch it.
Yeah, I finally caught the end of Severance. Oh my god.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
I started watching Mythic Quest, which I really relate to as a gamer. That is fucking funny.
I've heard that's such a fun
Mythic
show. I
Quest
haven't
is a lot
seen
of
it
fun.
yet.
Hey,
Yeah,
what the fuck, man? It's been a week.
I rewatched Free Guy, and I started watching Foundation on Apple Plus, which is the Isaac Asimov story.
Does COVID add hours to the day?
I don't sleep on planes, and I don't sleep unless it's Krull. Apparently, when I have COVID, and I was watching Titans, the new season, season 3 of Titans on HBO Max. So that's all I did.
I'm glad you didn't feel. I couldn't watch fucking anything when I was sick. I'm glad you felt good enough to watch it. I was in misery. I watched The Offer on Paramount Plus, which is about the whole making of the Godfather thing from the producer Alan Ruddy's perspective.
Okay, sorry,
and
quickly,
Bob
just
Evans,
quickly, you're
Robert
throwing out
Evans'
Paramount
perspective.
Plus. Have you watched Strange New Worlds yet? Because you're gonna fucking love it.
Haven't watched Strange New Worlds, and I know you've said that I would like that. There's also a show on there about For All Mankind, about
Yes.
if the space race is going differently. That sounds intriguing.
But dude,
I've
seriously,
not given enough.
jump into Strange New Worlds. You won't be disappointed.
Cool.
Yeah, carry on.
And because of watching The Offer, which was you should probably care about The Godfather and movie making. You're probably going to like it a lot more. I don't know how it would sit with somebody who doesn't know shit about any of that stuff. Oh yeah, but I did end up watching Dave's favorite film of all time, the first Godfather. I watched 1 and 2 because Elizabeth had never seen them before.
Yes.
Man, those are good movies. Dave, you're insane. That is just
Hey, I love almost all of it. I love almost all of The Godfather. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Dave, Jeff, how about you?
I did see a lot too because I'm in the Tribeca. I was trying to crank some out. So the festival winner was like a cool little indie film. So if you really love your indie films, Good Girl Jane is about a high school girl who gets addicted to drugs. She's with the wrong crowd, but it's just really well done. And that was the big winner at Tribeca. I forget if it won Director's Prize or if it won their.
So it's like another round, but with teenagers.
Yeah, she's addicted to drugs
And nomads.
Anyway, I watched this Bryan Cranston movie with was it her? Is it Annette Bening? I forget who else was in it.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
This is Jerry and Marge Go Large. We'll see if that comes out for award season. It's about people that rigged the lottery. There's a specific lottery that they started to win, and it's just like a sweet little story.
Isn't that on
Streaming
already?
Giant fucking billboard over here on Hollywood Boulevard. So I think it is probably going to get a push.
Yeah, they're gonna start cooking for it, of course. Yeah,
I thought that was already on streaming. I don't know.
It might be. Tribeca ended. It's supposed to have ended in June, and so like the Black Phone was a Tribeca film that got a release date before it was like done and stuff. Okay. Oh wait, it's my time.
Also, Black Phone's on demand this week on Friday.
Shit, that was quick.
Well, again, they had that deal sold before they released the film. So
I saw a John McEnroe documentary that was pretty good, and I saw a lot of TV. But I'm gonna punt on till next week for some of the TV stuff. But because I started what we do in the shadows, the TV show, and I rewatched Thor Ragnarok. But the big thing I want to sell for you guys is, Be Sweet, Pray and Obey.
Oh,
Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey. Oh my God, it's about the FLDS, which is the Fundamentalist Latter-day Saints, which is a sect of Mormonism. It's a cult. If you've seen Under the Banner of Heaven or whatever that show's called with Andrew Garfield, that's sort of that's a fictional thing that's set in this cult. And I watched, so this is a 4-part documentary on Netflix about it. And if you love your cult documentaries, 4 episodes, 1 hour, it's right in the sweet spot. These motherfuckers, they're polygamists, and it's all based on this guy thinking he's a prophet. But so the first episode and the fourth episode are the best. But the real kicker is that this old 85-year-old man who just keeps taking on new wives, and by telling them he's the prophet, and of course they have no idea what's going on. They think they think like they're gonna lose their salvation, so he has literally 24 wives at a time. At night, line up outside his bedroom door to say goodnight to him. Like, it's just like so fucking ridiculous that this still happens. This still happens. This is like a current story. And then when he dies in the first episode, which is not much of a spoiler, let's just say another one of his sons, which when you have 64 wives, you have a whole lot of sons. Yeah. One of them decides that they are the new prophet. And the fact that people believe that now this motherfucker is the new prophet, it's like, it's you keep watching and you're just like, how did they all just switch who the prophet is? And they keep buying into this horse shit. And by the time you have to see it all the way through, because by the end, it's like, there's a reporter in it that's like blood is boiling the whole time. And you're like, oh my God, I highly recommend it. This is Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey. It's horse shit. And it's a great cult documentary if you want to see some cult documentaries.
Jesus Christ. I also have 1 episode left of the F1 series, and I'm kind of sad it's over.
Who told you to start watching that?
Yeah, my buddy, the show creator, CEO of Disney Lucasfilms, Chris Hurte.
Are you guys on that train? F1 documentary?
I know as soon as I started, I'm not going to be able to
stop. Jeff, you are going to. Jeff, I can see you.
Obsessed.
Jeff, you will be covered. Jeff, you will be covered in merch from head to toe, dude.
My August is wide open.
Think we got sponsors.
You are going to memorize every stat about. You are going to be obsessed, dude.
I'm already getting videos sent to me that are like the G-force it sends you, and I'm already like these motherfucking F1 motherfuckers.
The 2 races this last weekend in Austria. Because I'm done with documentary, so now
I saw the crash. I saw that one. Yeah.
The 2 races started at 6:30 a.m. on the West Coast, and I watched them both live because
because of this documentary.
Because now I'm obsessed with F1.
The sprint and the Sunday. Yeah, Jeff, you're gonna like it. I'm excited for you.
Jeff misses the buttons occasionally.
Again, my August is wide open. I can't wait. Friends, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of The Love of Cinema. Chris, is it Hurt? Is it Hurty? Is it Hurte? I'm sorry. What was it?
No, it's Hurt.
Chris Hurte, what a good name. Chris Hurte, thank you so much for joining us. Anything you want to plug for yourself or about yourself other than The Mandalorian, which all of our viewers listen to?
Dude, when is Mandalorian 3 coming out?
So I thought December, because the first 2 seasons and Book of Boba Fett all came out in December, but it's actually February. Probably because Andor is coming out, which I didn't work on.
Yeah.
So my season's on February, and I'm very excited for it. I don't think I'm just saying this because I'm on it, but I actually think it's really cool. It's been fun to see. I think the story is really great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they literally took the whole Boba Fett story and said, how can we make Mandalorian better? So I'm really excited for this season.
I think it's cool. There's some cool shit that happens for sure.
Yeah.
To plug, no, I do nothing cool other than work.
Well, come back before February. So
what is your position on that again?
I'm an assistant editor to the main editor on the show. So I'm like the main person on 4 of the 8 episodes of the season.
Jesus. Holy shit. All right. Well, we got to check them out.
Check it out.
Is anybody not watching that?
Yeah.
People that don't like Star Wars.
Fuck those guys. They don't listen to our show.
I can't. 8 months. I can't wait. All right. Well, thank you so much for another episode. Thanks for listening, film fans. We will see you next time. Reach out to us on the socials. Dave set up the link tree. Reach out to us. We can't wait to hear from you. See you next time. Bye.